Hello everybody, I'm Rebecca Rainier. We're at the Whitman Center and we're going to have a candidate forum tonight. It's going to be about 2 hours long and we're going to meet all the candidates for Bedford Township Trustee. It should be an interesting night.
Good. Come to you, in. Stand by, come to the studio in 3.
All right, welcome everybody. How are y'all doing tonight? My name's Rebecca Rainier, and I'm I lived here since 1979. I'm not going to tell you when I was born, but more or less a lifelong resident of Bedford Township. Happy to pitch in today for all these fantastic candidates doing some public service. It takes a lot to put yourself out there for run for office. So no matter how tonight turns out, I commend all of you for giving of yourself to serve our township. So before we get all into it, thank you for doing that. Dr. Kojo is here. I was told just Kojo, don't even try. Everyone calls him Kojo. So he's going to say a few words for us.
I'll start with one applause from our trustee member, board member there, Mary Kay. But good evening and thank you very much, Ms. Rainier. You know, you are here at Monroe County Community College, the Whitman Center. And this Whitman Center, when I joined this institution a few years ago, there was talk about closure of this place. Well, that talk is gone now. And you may have seen in the paper just yesterday, I believe, that we now have an arrangement with Spring Arbor University where they'll be sharing. Oh, can you hear me now? All right. So we now have an arrangement with Spring Arbor University to share this facility. We'll be here in the day. They'll be here during the evenings and the weekends, which makes this place much more viable. So this college, Monroe County Community College, has been in this community now, not this Whitman Center, but the college itself has been in this community for 52 years. And it's our intention to be here for many, many more. And so this evening we want to welcome you all here to Monroe County Community College, which is your college. By supporting this college, ladies and gents, you are supporting Monroe. If you send your kids here to the Whitman Center, which is in Bedford, you are essentially buying Bedford, am I right? As opposed to sending as opposed to all right. As opposed to sending your kids somewhere else. So we encourage your support. In November, there will be we will be going for a millage. It will be a limited 5-year millage, unlike what we tried 2 years ago. And this time the focus will be on facilities, including on this facility. We're going to add a lab here. We're going to repair those sinking. In case you don't know, those columns out there are sinking. So we'll fix those columns. We'll make sure that this place is competitive and we can offer a larger range of classes for individuals who live here in Bedford. This is your college, and we welcome you to your college. Thank you very much.
All right, can you hear me? All right, good. You good back there? We also want to thank Mickey Kent and Bedford High School for helping to tape this so that the citizens of Bedford Township can watch when it's all set, and they can take a look and meet all of you via Mickey Kent's efforts. So thank you, Mickey. Okay, so a couple of things. Each candidate is going to get a 30-second introduction of themselves to say what they want to say, introduce us to you if we don't know you yet. And then we've got a whole stack of questions submitted by the community. This is not a debate. There's not a lot of back and forth. It's general knowledge about how you feel about the issues, what you want to do for the township, for our community, why you're the best person to do those things. We do have a lot of candidates and a lot of questions, so we really want to try to stay on task. We mention that it's not a debate because if we go back and forth, we'll stay on one question possibly for the whole night. So we want to really try to get everyone a chance to say why you're best for Bedford. The answer section is about 90 seconds. And who's my timer? If you see the red hat in the 15 seconds, that's for you and me and everybody. That way it's not like the Academy Awards. We don't play you off, but then 15 seconds or so, it's time to wrap it up because your questions are going to be, if you go over your time, then your neighbor doesn't have time. So let's just remember to share the time as best as we can. So let's start right away with our introductions. Down at the far end, Michael Sprott, you want to start us out? All right, give it a try. Well, I don't know. That's up to you. Can you hear him? You want to come up here? All right. Can we move this mic to each of the candidates?
15 seconds of your time.
Uh-oh. Can we move that mic to them? Is it long enough? All right, so you do it now and then we'll move it around.
Hi, I'm Michael Sprott. My wife and I, Kathy, have lived in the township for over 35 years. We raised 5 children here. Unfortunately, like some of the other people in this room, our children had to leave the area to find employment. One of the things I'd like to do is work to improve Bedford, to try to get economic development, to bring jobs back to this area. We've lost a lot of automotive jobs, and I'd like to try to increase the jobs in the Bedford area so our children don't have to leave the area.
Wow, got it under time. That's great. T.C. Clements?
Thank you. Good evening. My name's T.C. Clements, and I want to be your trustee. Namely because I think we can do better, I think we can be better, and we absolutely need to expect a little bit more from our leadership. For those of you who don't know, I've been a former deputy chief of police. I've been an executive with a large corporation, and I've successfully started a couple of businesses. So I think I have a unique skill set as Bedford moves forward and we try to conscientiously grow, but also maintain our sense of community and our sense of pride. So I'd appreciate your vote, and more than anything, thank you for coming tonight.
All right, Rick?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Steiner, currently an incumbent trustee on the Township Board. I'm looking forward to serving Bedford for another 4 years. I have multiple years of experience within various departments of the Township: economic development, planning, zoning, and 8 years on the Township Board. My experience and my decisions have always been made by the law and not by personal opinion. I always vote by honesty and integrity. I'm looking forward to serving you again and looking forward to your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm George Welling, and there's just a few bullet points I wanted to cover. One is I feel small business creates jobs and increases the tax base. I believe in the rights of property owners and limited government. I am committed to building a working relationship between the Township Hall, the schools, police, fire departments, and most of all the citizens of Bedford. No special interest groups here, just want to serve the citizens. Thank you, I'm George Welling.
Hello, my name is James Nyan, and I'm seeking one of the 4 positions for Township Trustee. I recently sold Forestry Lanes, better known as the bowling guy in town. I believe in growth, residential growth, and with the Gordie Howe Bridge, I believe in industrial growth as well. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to your vote. Thank you.
Now we have to move the mic down for the short people. Hi, my name is Michelle Bork, and I have been a resident in Bedford since 1995. I'm married to Todd Bork, who's a graduate of Bedford High School. I have 3 awesome kids. 2 have graduated, and they both work at Disney World right now. I am 15 seconds. I am a Disney travel agent. I have owned a local business in town that is MT Looney's. It was for 10 years I owned that. We also have a lawn care service that we own and we love. Bedford, I love the people here. I love the community. I want to make it more family friendly. Things that you can get out and do with your family. I like to improve the downtown areas. That's kind of my little baby there is what the things that, a couple of things. I'm getting the cutoff. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Greg Robinson. Instead of fully introducing myself, I just want to take a quick minute to thank Jim Krieger, who funded this event, Mark Ellsworth came up with the idea, our iconic personality leading this forum, Rebecca Renier, and Mickey Kent and the cast, the group from the high school. I think we should clap it up for them first. I know, 15 seconds. So I am a retired teacher, old school Democrat, and the likes of FDR and JFK. And the First People Initiatives are what I represent. I might be your candidate. If you need more information about me, I guess apparently I was just, they finally published it in today's Monroe Evening News. So thank you very much.
Bob Stammer. I'm currently in my sixth year of a six-year term for Monroe County Road Commission, and one of my reasons for coming back is I feel I could help in maintaining the multi-million-dollar investment that we've made in our road system here and try to improve it here locally. One thing is the addition of at least one paved shoulder on some of our primary roads to kind of connect our community together. They've looked at sidewalks before, and with the right-of-ways and some drainage issues, it was kind of dropped. And I think that's something we need to move forward. And I think the amount of budget that we have at the Road Commission sets me up for experience here at the township. Thank you.
Also running are Brett Cook and Nancy Tinneberry, who cannot be here tonight, but that is the full roster of candidates. So again, thank you so much for stepping forward for the township. So Mickey Kent, can I take this off here as we start these questions? Can we go along the line? Is it going to be long enough, or do they each have to come up to the podium? Okay, so you guys are going to get, did anybody wear a Fitbit? You're going to get some steps in tonight. So the first question we're going to try to give to everyone. We won't be able to give all the questions to everyone. As we get moving through here, we might start just going down the line to the next question, to the next candidate. If there's a topic that you didn't get to talk about and it's your thing, what you can do is in the last segment, you're going to have a 2-minute closing. So, keep in mind that if we bypassed you on one question and went to a different question, you have that opportunity at the end to say, hey, I did want to talk about this topic, so please do weigh in at the end. It's just a matter of time. It's a good problem. A lot of people here tonight. Okay, so the very first question that we're going to ask here is kind of some basics. We're going to kind of encompass it all together. Give us about 30 seconds what you believe the township trustee role is, and how have you prepared for that role. So if you just want to start down the line here, come on up, that would be great. So what's the trustee role?
Many of the issues that come before the trustee board involve property rights between business owners and homeowners. I'm a licensed real estate broker, been selling real estate for over 27 years. Prior to that, I was a real estate investor and I managed a steel plant. So I have a lot of experience in property rights and the issues that are coming before the board. And as a trustee, I would be interested in trying to solve the problems so it'd be mutually beneficial for not only the property owner, but also the township. A lot of the issues that I see drag on for months and months and months, and some of the builders and developers, it takes a year or two to get improvement, and it's ridiculous that they have to bounce back and forth between all the different boards and the different commissions to try to get approval so they can make an investment in this township.
Thank you very much. That's your time. All right, come on up. And say your name every time you come up. You want the voters to remember who you
T.C.
are.
Clements.
There you go.
A trustee at its core is just someone who has fiduciary responsibility. We are the people that you elect, and I stress again that you elect, to represent you on matters that come before this township. And I think what's been getting lost, not only in small towns but across our country, is that elected leaders are elected by you. And that an election doesn't mean you're permanently detached from the body that you elected. It means you need to be more in touch with the body. My past experience as a deputy chief has put me in the public sector quite a bit to handle everything from major incidents to budgetary issues. If you remember one word about me, please remember the word ambassadorship. I think it's important that we stay connected as a community.
All right, thank you so much. Come on up, Rick.
Hi, again, Rick Steiner, Township Trustee. Trustees' primary responsibility is the fiduciary responsibility. Our main goal and our job is to serve the citizens by having a good budget, keeping within the constraints of the budget and operating accordingly. One of the things that I think is also very important is the planning and zoning and what it does to affect our businesses. We needed to rethink what we do with our planning and zoning and make some changes now. We can't wait any longer. We also need to think about future and ready, shovel-ready projects for the township.
All right, thanks so much. Come on up.
I'm still George Welling. A trustee has fiduciary responsibilities, but he also has to be, let's borrow it, an ambassador to all the people out there. A lot of people talk about being transparent when they do these things, and everybody promises transparency. It's been going on for years. Well, I've said it before, transparency is a right. It's the citizens' right to be able to see what's going on in the township with the money and with everything that they're doing. As far as what I've done, I've been to 14 years of meetings, at least half of them, and I've been on the, time's up, sorry.
Sometimes it goes fast and sometimes it goes slow, right?
Hello, my name's Jim Nyan. As the name implies, trustee is an individual placed in a position of public trust with fiduciary responsibility to manage the affairs of the township for the best interest of the public. What that means to me: listening to the wants and needs of the people, voting on proposed issues objectively as a board, and lawfully seeing it through the corridors of our government center. More importantly, the board needs to work on these type of issues collectively. What I prepared to do for trustee is my 25 years of business experience and working with the township government for many years, I think has prepared me adequately. Thank you.
This one's a little bit of a dance right here in front of the podium.
I guess I could come that way.
Yeah, next time we'll try that.
Michelle Bork. As definition, trustee means that you sit on a board of 7 people and you make decisions for the community. With those decisions, I am going to be researching, talking to people, going out there and understanding why we need to pass or not pass an issue. So those are things that you know, I'm a very good researcher. I'm very into computers and technology, and I love to talk to people. So I will be doing a lot of that to make my decisions.
See, I'm gently touching on the elbow, right?
Thank you. Greg Robinson again. How are we prepared to be a township trustee? As an adjunct weekend professor, state and local government in Michigan history courses at Spring Arbor University, I taught all aspects of local issues, legal workings, fundings, including the fiduciary responsibilities. And I've engaged in a dialogue recently between some of the employees and who work in the township and many voters as I can to becoming more engaged in what I would consider the issues facing Bedford Township. I also taught recently graduate grant writing courses, and which will hopefully work to prevent cuts.
There you go.
Bob Stammer. The first responsibility of a trustee is the finances, getting a budget passed and making sure you stay within your means. Secondly, to give suggestions. You have a staff that provides you with the financials, and you have a staff that implements what a board feels that the township should be doing on a day-to-day basis. So, thank you.
All right, so let's move on to the next question, and it's kind of a twofer. Where do you see Bedford in 2 or 5 years? We're like taking a shorter view of our future here. Take a look at that. Where do you see Bedford? And if you want to add to that, how would you encourage younger families to move here? Those two would be something we would want to address here in this 30 seconds. So come on up, come on down.
Well, to attract younger families, we're going to have to get some lower-priced, newer homes being developed. Most of the builders today are building more expensive homes or building apartment complexes for the senior citizens. So we're not building housing that's attractive to the younger generation to come in. That's one thing we need to do. I hope to see down the road Bedford developing Lewis Avenue and trying to fill up with small businesses all the vacant storefronts that we're developing along Lewis Avenue.
All right, thank you so much. Told you guys would get your steps in today.
Sure. TC Clements again. The good news is obviously everybody wants to be in Bedford. You ask any realtor in this community, and houses aren't staying on the market for a long time. The real issue we have in front of us is we're on a trajectory right now, and some decisions are being made that don't land us in the best place a few years from now. And I think the appropriate approach is to try to have some vision come to Bedford where we can integrate business, we can reduce the stress and how difficult it is as a business owner to operate here, and at the same time ensure that we're keeping housing starts affordable and realistic for people across the spectrum.
Fantastic, thank you.
Rick Steiner. Our jobs are what's really primary to Bedford continuing to grow and grow smartly. I work in the automotive industry. I've been in the industry for over 35 years. For global growth as well as local growth, we've got to be able to create jobs to bring our young people to Bedford. By planning and working with possibly our industrial parks, again, for shovel-ready projects to bring new business in, the global industry for automotive alone is supposed to continue growing up through 2020 to over, I think it's 2022, 110 million vehicles globally per year. So we need to focus on automotive. That's part of Bedford.
George?
In 2 to 5 years, I expect to see a lot more small business. Small business creates jobs more than anything else, including the industrial. Jobs, you want younger people in this town? Give them something to do. Give them a job with a good pay and being steady. We have a lot of places that we can put small businesses, but we have to encourage them with better zoning and better regulations. And I want them here too. I really do. So that's it. Thank you.
2 to 5 years. Where do I see Bedford in 2 to 5 years? I see a community with a little bit more harmony, a board with more harmony. I see residential and business growth, allowing a tax base for continued support on an infrastructure and while preparing for industrial growth. Thank you.
I'm gonna go this way. Sorry. I figured it out
A
finally.
little obstacle course.
Michelle Borg. 2 to 5 years. I actually kind of wrote something out where I envision. I envision Bedford Township with bike trails, pedestrian-friendly walkways, community events all through the township. Residents that are involved, informed, and engaged. I see we're going to be so technology savvy, very good communication, because those are the two things that are very, very important to me, technology and communication.
Thank you, Michelle. Remember, say your name. They need it back for the students too, so they can make sure to put the names on the screen, so.
Greg Robinson again. We need to continue to thrive as a vibrant family community. Maybe advertise media, word of mouth, commercials, newspapers, etc., raising awareness of the positive experience of life that is living in Bedford Township. This includes the schools, the impressive school districts, the MSTEP scores, the recent the car park, Palmer Lay, White Park, the YMCA, the recent 100% handicap accessible playground. These are incredible things that are part of Bedford, and I see us growing more towards families-oriented and small business growth.
Thank you so much. All right, Bob?
Bob Stammer, on 2 to 5 years, I'd like to see more shoulders of the roads paved so that the community gets more connected. Also, downtown Temperance. It's the one true downtown that this community has, sorely underdeveloped. I'd like to see that developed and bring this community more together. We kind of seem to be separated. Part of it wants to go one way and part of it wants to go another. And we need to decide as a community which way we want to go and what kind of community we want to be. So I hope we move forward after this election here and develop Bedford into more of a community that I thought it should become from when I was a child, and it was 5,000 or 6,000 people here. Thank you.
Do you want to stay? Would you want to stay up here for a second? So, in the interest of fairness, instead of always starting this way and going down this way, I'm gonna switch it up. Do you want to go first for the next question? You ready? Catch your breath? All right, so the next question, we want 3 goals, solid, concrete goals for Bedford Township. So you're up again.
I'd say one solid goal is that we're going to have to pass a road millage at some point for the improvements that I talk about, and I don't think the general fund is going to support what we need for our roads in the future. Redevelopment. We see Lewis Avenue, a lot of empty storefronts, and downtown Temperance. We needed to develop that and to bring us all together as a community. Bring this community together to pass millages and to have a good school system, and all this affects all of our property values.
Get out of the way.
Greg Robinson again, 3 goals. I suppose I'd like to see a digital Dropbox, sort of designed to allow our family, community, constituents to express their concerns over any number of issues. Next, I'd like to see the shovel-ready, to piggyback on your statement, infrastructure to meet the challenges and potential growth related to the Gordie Howe Bridge that we might be facing. And finally, I think we need to write more grants to get more monies into this district instead of always thinking about cuts.
All right, my 3 goals. 1, become business friendly. Bedford has a terrible reputation of not being business friendly, welcoming those new businesses in. 2, again, family friendly. I'm going to hit that again. The bike trails, the community, the family, the events, that bring our community together. I'm going to say the 3rd one is going to be that revitalizing downtown Temperance. That's a huge goal of mine. With the, that again will bring that community together and have the pedestrian friendly, that we will be able to walk and see our neighbors.
The, James Nyan, the 3 things I would like to see is better roads for obvious reasons, better public transportation to serve our senior citizens and those with disabilities, and of course, a better government.
All right, George.
3 goals for Bedford. First one, and you heard it before, is businesses. Businesses mean tax dollars. Tax dollars means we can do something like the bike trails and improving the parks. And the second thing is jobs. Jobs increases the tax base, which means that we're paying for all of the things that we want. The third and most important thing, my goal for this township, is strong leadership. And actually, I'll be going into that with my ending statement. Thank you.
Hi, Rick Steiner again. Again, working with planning and zoning, very important. We need to attract and keep and retain our businesses and grow our businesses and our employment numbers in the Bedford Township. Also tying to the 2020 bridge and the Gordie Howe project, there's a lot to be coming. Secondly, continue the 5-year pavement asset management plan, very crucial to Bedford Township to maintain our infrastructure. And number 3, we must maintain our emergency services, our Bedford Fire Department and our Police Department, which are very crucial, and they are a very professional resource, and we all need our emergency services at one time or another in our life. Thank you.
Hi, T.C. Clements. Unlike a lot of what you've heard, my 3 suggestions do not involve raising money or raising taxes. The first one is we need to take a serious look at intergovernmental cooperation between the college, between the high school, and between the township. There is realization of savings that's being missed right now. Second is, I agree with Michelle, that the Temperance Road area is going to become an albatross around our neck if we don't fix it and see some revitalization. The third and the biggest one is you have every right as citizens in this community to have expectations of your board. And I believe that a board that serves you should be able to set goals and then should be accountable for those goals they set in front of you as to whether they got them done or they didn't. Thank you.
Mike Spratt. Prior to working in real estate, I worked in the steel industry in management for 20 years and ran 4 different steel plants, always within a budget. I think we should be able to run this township in the budget without the need to increase millages or raise taxes. property values are going up, we have new development coming in, and we're getting more taxes based on the increased values. We should be able to continue to improve the roads without new taxes. I'd like to work to streamline the improvement of getting approvals done for building, and time's up.
All right, the next question is, how do you think the roads are doing in Bedford Township? If you don't think they're great, how do we fix it? So we're going to talk about the roads in this particular question. Michelle, how about we start with you? We're going to split the table. Want to do it? Ladies first.
Sounds good. Bedford roads, everybody loves them. So I think in the last couple of years, Bedford roads have really improved a lot. You know, there's been more repaving and kind of fixing that. I see a lot of more improvement. The things that I'm a little concerned with is how our roads are kind of shrinking. They seem to get smaller and smaller. I like to see a little bit wider roads, and of course, a lot of those troubled roads that we haven't quite got to. To me, safety always comes first in every single thing. Safety is first, and so roads would actually be, you know, a huge part of that.
Okay. Greg, do you want to come next, and then we'll go down that way? Sound fair?
Greg Robinson again. Roads are always in need of improvement. To begin, Bedford residents would agree, of course, as we just heard, the road network is critical to emergency response times, public safety, senior health care, families, businesses, economic development, to schools, agriculture, tourism, revitalization of the economy. It's no quick fix. I think we are bound by the revised 1997 code from Public Act number 51, if I recall, that does not allow, that limits townships townships are not part of the Public Act. Therefore, we have to kind of be thinking about fixing these ourselves at some point.
All right, Bob, do you want to come on up?
Well, thanks to those that think the roads have gotten better over the past several years. Part of that is extra help from the state. Hopefully things get better as funding package has been passed. Whether or not, the general revenues of the township will be able to keep up with repairs is yet to be seen. But hopefully the cost sharing changes. By state law, our local roads, different from primaries, we have to contribute at least 50% of the cost to that. The road commission is limited on funding for that, so we always need funds for the local roads, and subdivisions are left for their own. Thank you.
All right, James, do you want to come on up next?
Okay, James Nyan, how are the roads doing? How are the roads in the entire state of Michigan? I am not sure, but I do know we do have a 5-year plan in place that seems to be helping some. But the only way to really tackle this problem, and I think it's been a problem since I've been a young child out here in Bedford Township, is the money to fix the roads. So we will have to increase our residential strength, business strength, and industrial strength to generate the tax dollars needed to fix our roads as well as our infrastructure. Thank you.
All right, George?
Wife said, say your name. George Welling.
That's right.
One thing about the place is the roads, and the thing about that is money. It's always money. And frankly, I think the past number of boards did a good job in improving a lot of the main streets. I see a difference, I notice a difference. The residential, folks, you have to be on your own, or we're gonna have to suck it up. The last board tried to get a agreement where people would all chip in and help get the roads fixed, and it didn't go very well, but I think we have to approach that again. That's our answer. Thank you.
George?
Hi, as I mentioned a minute ago, the 5-year pavement asset management plan, and one thing that people seem to forget, just like cars, homes, and everything else, you build it, and then what? Maintain it. That's one of our biggest challenges today. Once we get these new roads built, we've got to maintain them. That's what part of the 5-year plan is, and it's an ongoing plan. And as I've heard a few other people state, the money won't always be there out of the current general fund, because you don't have in your taxes, there's no direct line on your tax bill that says roads. It all goes to the state and it trickles back down to the townships. Then we have to spread that money. Thank you.
Hi, TC Clements. I would just echo what Rick said. This is a maintenance game. Obviously, there's a plan in place and roads are improving, and I think anybody that can remember 2 years back, I live on Summerfield Road, it was horrible. And so I think the current plan is fantastic, but if we don't solve our maintenance issue, that's where the problem is going to come in. And in large part, like many of the issues we see, it comes down to trust in your leadership. And so I think the plan will be to develop that maintenance plan so that it's consistent and it's equal and it's applied in a way that we're not have to consistently come back to you and say, money, 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 please.
Michael Sprott, just repeating what everybody else has said, the roads have been improving with the current plan that we have in, and I think, again, with more economic development and the further raising of the property values in the area, we can continue to improve the roads without the necessity of raising taxes. When I was a plant manager, I doubled the capacity and the output of our plant with no capital improvements whatsoever, just through better management. And I think that can be done at the township level also.
All right, the next question that we have is also kind of a twofer. What's Bedford's biggest asset? And the converse, what is Bedford's biggest liability? Let's start with TC. So we want everyone at least once a chance to go first. So if I miss someone, I'm sure you'll let me know, right? Okay, so TC.
Well, without question, I perceive our biggest asset as our school system. I moved here, people always ask me this campaign, what side are you on? I tell them I'm on the side of my 3- and 5-year-old. I think that's something we want to work ourselves around. I think our biggest impediment right now is the divide that exists between our leadership and our community. As we've seen in recent news, major events happen around the world. And, God forbid that we ever find ourselves in that. We've already had water problems in which, we had issues at the township level. But it will come a day and a time when we have to ensure that the trust and the communication between the people of Bedford and the leadership of Bedford are a little bit improved.
All right. Rick, do you want to come? And then we'll go around the horn.
Well, it's hard to pick, but I would also have to agree with TC on the school system. The park system's right behind that, and also our emergency management services that we provide in Bedford Township. We have second to none emergency facilities and emergency personnel in this township. One of the things we have to do is also be very communicative with the schools, work with the schools and see what we can do to consolidate resources and to improve our openness and communicate to the township and the residents. And not last, but the citizens is also our next most valuable resource in this township.
Okay. George, you want to come on up?
Oh, you bet. George Welling. Biggest asset is, I have to agree with Rick, our safety programs here. I'm talking about the fire and the police department. When I moved to Bedford, it wasn't long after that I got an insurance reduction because the fire department was that good. And as far as the liability, it's lack of trust. There's too many people out there saying that this should happen, that should happen. We have a lot of people complaining, and there's just not enough communication and not enough leadership to carry the weight of what we're doing to people. Thank you very much.
James Nyan. Our biggest asset would be our people. And without our people, our school systems, our fire departments, and our police departments, our fire departments would be as good. Our biggest liability, in my mind, is Toledo being so close to us. Toledo wasn't as close as it was. Everybody would understand and discover how wonderful Bedford business truly is. Thank you.
Well, Jim, you took mine. People, absolutely. You're right. I figured that much. I saw you leaning over. We have an amazing group of people in Bedford. I mean, you go to any school and you can't even get a volunteer position because they're lined up at the door. Just the people are so supportive, so great. Liability, I would say a little bit of lack of communication as far as the township and the people getting information out in a timely manner. I just joined the communications committee, and so we hope to improve that a lot. Better website. Oops, okay, that was quick.
Greg Robinson again. Let's see. Biggest asset, caring and giving people that make up this township. As a teacher, the last 19 years, I've seen many, many parents and students come out of our programs, dedicated teachers, coaches, staffs, finally the local business leaders who have the tenacity to grow and build businesses in this wonderful area. What strength, tap into these assets, increase communication, cooperation, things like that. The biggest liability, I think, are the fields sometimes blocking the views at the intersections and a recycling program that might need expansion.
Simmer, once again to repeat, yes, the people which make up our school system, our staff there, our emergency services, our fire department, as far back as I can ever remember as a kid, our fire department was always known to be good and continues to be good up to this day. Our biggest drawback, I think, right now is a divide in the community. That we need to come together and bridge that and work together for the good of this community.
Mike Sprott is a real estate broker. The number one reason people move to Bedford is the school system. The number two reason they move here is a semi-rural area, but it's close to Toledo. It's easy access to Detroit by I-75, easy access to Ann Arbor by US 23. So our location is a primary reason, because of the schools and the location, the semi-rural area, that people move to Bedford. I was born in Detroit. I had an opportunity to take a job at a steel plant in Toledo. I moved here because of the schools and my kids.
All right, since we started with TC, this time we're going to start with Rick. The question is about taxes. We want you to talk about how would you impact the taxes that Bedford residents are paying, and what is the primary best use of those tax dollars? So we're going to start over here with Rick.
One of the things about Bedford is we have one of the lowest tax rates in the area. I did some local comparisons of Bedford, Sylvania, Toledo, and Perrysburg, and I reviewed a number of homes, and every one of those, Bedford came out the lowest of all those comparables that I did. The best use of our taxes is, again, we must support our citizens in our township. We must take care of our roads. We must take care of our parks. We must work with our schools. We must use our money wisely, not overspend. We must look into the budgets. And when departments go over budget, question them early. Don't wait till the end. Wait till budget time. Thank you.
And George, you want to just come on up?
I might as well.
Okay.
George Welling again. Oh, boy, primary use for tax dollars. Of course, for me, first, it's always safety. We already got to use the fire department. We don't want to do that again. And roads. But roads is a tough one. And I do believe that people are being careful with the money, but there are other ways to earn money. I think the township can go around and do some other things where they could try to make some money some other ways with the township dollars, or excuse me, with the township possibilities. Thank you.
All right, here we go, James.
James Nyan. Best use for our tax dollars would be investing in our future, listening to our people, what they want to our tax dollars to be used for, while providing transparency to our citizens.
All right. Michelle?
Tax dollars. I love numbers. I love looking at numbers. So to me, to find the best way to use our money, I'm very into that. Owning a business for all of our years, that's what very important to me. Safety, security, and services. Safety, security, and services. Those are the three things that I will always vote for if there's an issue that comes up. Things that I think that our residents want: safety, security, and services. Thanks.
All right, Greg?
Greg Robinson, again, let's see, I said the best use of taxes, to go join with others, safety, seniors, students, and the roads, of course. I think we also need to think about bringing more money into the township, and I'm going to keep harping on this point. I think the grant writing is something that they did with the parks, and it works well, and I'd like to see other things done with those kinds of grants. There are many grants out there, and day one, that's what I'd like to do if elected.
Bob Stammer. Right now, roads and police and fire are eating up the majority of the township's budget. And what's left goes to the administration, and we do the parks, some cemetery. So there isn't a lot involved with the township's budget compared to the road commissions. But those are the three. The only thing I see that would need to be increased possibly is for roads if we wanted better roads. Thanks.
Mike's brought to, I agree with Rick Steiner. We have some of the lowest millage rates and lowest property taxes in the area. I see property taxes every single day working in real estate. That's another reason we can attract people to our township, not only homeowners, but businesses and business development. And for use of the taxes, emergency services, fire, police, rescue squads, and to continue to improve the roads as needed.
T.C. Clements, as a former career in law enforcement, my heart is always with emergency services. And I think if you look at the dollars we spend in this community and what we receive, it's stellar service by both. The one thing that I find interesting, though, is as I keep talking about growing our community conscientiously. And if we do that, could you imagine having a ballot come up where we didn't need a millage increase? That's what we need to start working on, is spreading out some of the diversity of our tax base so we don't have to keep coming back to the public and saying more. Being a little bit careful with what we have and that interagency cooperation that I talked about earlier. Thank you.
All right, this next question is going to be about millages. We're going to be talking about the fire millage renewal. We want you to try to encompass what you can in this question. Do you support a fire renewal millage? Would you support the millage for new fire trucks and building repair? So your position on that would be what we're looking for. And George, let's start with you, if you're all set to go.
Did you say new millage?
Would you support a fire renewal millage? Would you support a millage for fire trucks? What's your position on that?
Okay. Well, I believe in renewing, George Welling, renewing the fire millage. I told you, we've already had an experience, and I've seen these guys work several times. If they need the equipment, we have to give it to them. They are the first line of defense against fires, and also emergency services to, for example, my mother-in-law. Got to call them, they came right over, took care of several people. We've had several emergencies that these guys came through. You can't take the tools away from them. So yes, I do support it. Thank you.
Right.
James Nyan. Absolutely, I do support the fire millage. Our fire department is a great asset to this community. While owning Forest Shoe Lanes, we had a huge reduction in insurance rates due to the 5-star rating from our fire department. They've been impeccable since I've been in this township, and I only foresee them getting better. Thank you.
Michelle?
The thing about millages is that it's really for the people to decide. A millage is something that the voters go to the voting booth and they decide if it should pass or not. If the question is, do I support the firemen? Absolutely. Do I know what they need? No, but I would go to them and say, what do you need, and see what they need. I think that communication between all of our services is really important.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, Gregory?
Greg Robinson again. I support the millage. I support any millage with the fire department. It's a distinguished history in our township since 1945. Sorry, historian nerd here. To answer your question, the population ages. We need to increase services, and no other way to do it at this point, and unless we can get the voters out there. Fade out. Okay.
Bob Stammer, most definitely a renewal of the fire department millage. And also, you have to take care of your equipment. Experience the same thing at the road commission. Have lots of trucks and equipment that are aged. It costs you a lot to maintain them. We actually went out last year and bought several trucks at auction from Genesee County. Much lower cost than buying new, and gave the guys a lot newer trucks. So the fire department is one service you don't want to skimp on, and we've always been known for a very good fire department in this township.
Mike Sprott, like everybody else, I do support the fire millage. As a trustee, we don't actually vote for the millage or approve it. It's left up to the citizens to do. But as a trustee, I would definitely support the fire department. I had a situation a few years ago, and by the time my wife got done on a telephone call, we had emergency personnel in my house.
Hi, T.C. Clements. Like everyone else, I would support the current fire millage that will be coming up on the ballot on August 2nd. But I think my responsibility on any pending millage down the road is you always have to take a look at it and look at the numbers. There's always a fine line between needs and wants. And I said earlier, I think the services we receive in this community from the fire department are exemplary. And the reality is as our population continues to age, those services and demands are going to increase. But I think we always have to evaluate that moment in time when we're being asked for funds, exactly where the funds are and where our priorities lie at any given moment in time. Thank you.
Rick Steiner, I do support millages when the data warrants. And the current millage that we have today supports our fire department operations. But when it comes to capital equipment, a lot of people don't realize we also have to get up to the NFPA standards. The equipment must still comply. And a lot of times a truck might cost you $1 million. So we've got to have a 5, 10, 15-year long-term strategy plan that comes directly from the fire chief to the board, and then the board makes a decision whether we should continue looking for millages or how we do fund those capital expenditures.
All right, the next question is about Bedford Public Schools. The question, what we want you to answer is, how do you see the township and Bedford Public Schools working together? And what's your opinion of the most recent millage request from the school? So give us your opinion and how the township and the school can work together. And it looks like we're starting with James this time.
James Nyan. I'm still educating myself. I'm not 100% sure how the township and the schools could work together. We're working on a communication process, and we hopefully that comes through quickly.
Michelle, you want to take the next one?
My kids have been at Bedford Public Schools for about 18 years now. I've been a volunteer, a Girl Scout leader in the PTO and PTA. I know a lot about the schools, and I think that the relationship between the township and the schools could work together beautifully. I mean, especially working together along with businesses too, and the schools. I just think it's just kind of a match that we need to work together as a community.
Okay, Gregory?
Greg Robinson again. Insider View, BPS, tech millage, absolute necessity. Thank you for voting for that. As far as township working together, I think let's look at the robotics team. And 2 years ago, they won 4th place in the international, and there was really much PR about that. I thought it would be nice if we had a couple of fire trucks when they drove in at night, because they are one, and they're part of our program, and they're part of everything like that. Mickey Kent's program, maybe we could tap into the communication services there and work as a co-joint efforts. And thank you.
All right, there you go, Bob.
Bob Stammer. I think the township and the schools working together jointly, decisions that the township makes as far as growth and development, increasing the tax base, that benefits the township as well as the school system in increased taxes. So I think in that way, the township and the schools are pretty much tied together now, but they have to promote each other.
The reputation of Bedford schools are recognized statewide. I get people from the Upper Peninsula calling, said they want to buy a house in the Bedford School District. I think the township has done a good job working with the schools, and I think we need to continue it. Again, as I said, as a realtor, the #1 reason people move to Bedford is because of the school system, and we need to continue that.
T.C. Clements, to answer your question, the recent technology millage, I think tonight, and looking what the students put together here is a real testament to what a millage can do and the opportunity it can give as a platform for students to move forward. I think long-term that we just want to continue to monitor and to engage and ensure that we have as much interagency cooperation. And we talk about township and schools. We need to be talking about the college and schools. We need to talk about high school and business. There's just a lot of areas where each single person doesn't have to have their own auditorium. Everybody doesn't have to have their own individual technology department. We can collaborate and create a lot of savings.
One of the things I think we should do is we should have quarterly meetings with the schools, see what kind of synergies can be created between the township and the schools. But one thing we have to remember is they do have two separate funding mechanisms, so those dollars are not intertwined. Many people think that they are. Another thing is the communication, the tech millage, absolutely a must, and it's a very positive thing for Bedford and the township. I also want to note that I served on the capital sinking fund a number of years back. If the data provides the right information, that we need to support our schools and be able to create that capital funding. Thank you.
George Welling. I want to thank Rick for taking my comment, which is public schools and the township, they are two different entities. So what they have to do is work on cooperation with each other, from using this building to helping each other raise funds different ways, but they are two different entities. And the biggest thing the township can do is get people to move here. More people here, more tax dollars, more money from the state for the students. And I think that's what the school runs on. I compliment the school on how much money they got to watch too.
All right, the next, we talked about this one area of our population, the young people and the school. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum. We're going to talk about our senior population. So the question that came in is, do you support the senior millage of 0.5 mil and the increase of 0.25 mils? And after that, if you could follow up whether you support that or not, could you let us know how you're going to include and encourage senior citizens to participate in government and our community? And it looks to me like Greg Robinson has not gone first yet. You ready to go? Sure. Okay, we're going to put you first.
Hi, Greg Robinson here again. Hi. Do you support the senior millage? Of course. Yes, the senior millage was passed in 1980. Well, what I understand, a recent meeting, voters will decide a renewal to continue funding for senior citizen programs and an additional 0.25 mill tax to support increasing population of the tax base will be lower as we get on in our life. Therefore, we need to have an additional 0.25. As far as using seniors, I'll tell you, they're an untapped resource. I used to bring my poetry literary magazine over, and done.
All right, Bob, do you want to continue on for us?
Bob Stammer. Yes, I support the senior millage renewal and the increase. Our seniors, you have to take care of them. Not everyone has the finances that some seniors have, and we need to support that area of our community. They've given so much to the community over the years that they deserve something back. Thank you.
All right, do you want to go down the row there for me?
Mike Spratt, I do support the renewal of the senior millage, which covers the budget that they had for last year. I don't fully understand why they're asking for a 50% increase in the taxes, and because I don't understand it, I do not currently support it. As I stated before, with more economic development and the apartment complexes that are being built and the homes that are being built, we're going to increase the property taxes, and the millage that we're passing for the budget now is going to give them more money. There's no reason for a 50% increase.
I'm T.C. Clements, and it's always interesting when you get asked about millages, because quite honestly, my vote counts just like yours. I don't have any more say in the matter than you do. Given the current situation with the senior millages, I am in favor for both the renewal and the support. Again, my background in emergency services, and also I was an investigator in the world of developmental disabilities, and have gone and investigated a number of situations involving those that are either disabled or elderly who've been homebound. I sit on the board for Habitat Humanity, and we use a phrase called aging in place. And it's something that I think a community can educate and can give seniors a better fighting shot to be self-independent longer.
Thank
Rick Steiner, I do support the millages for the seniors. If it wasn't for the seniors, guess what? We wouldn't be here. And the people that are going to follow us someday, we have to create for them. But so in the future, we need our young people to also support us when we get up to that age. As I heard earlier, the income levels of our seniors is much lower. Our Social Security is probably going to be gone in the next 15 to 20 years. What are we going to support ourselves with? So the services that we can provide and give them assistance is very much in need. Also with the property tax, if you get 1 mil, it doesn't matter if you have more population and more homes in the community. There's a heavy rollback on your taxes. So if you've got a 1 mil levy, you get 1 mil.
Time's up. Thank you.
George Welling. Yes and yes. First of all, renewals I usually lean on. I think are usually okay. But when we talk about adding in a millage, I really look into it. And what we got here is that by the year 2020, there's going to be a 40% increase in the people that are going to be seniors. That's a big number. In fact, they're below budget now. And the biggest thing I like about this group, that their budget, only 46% of their budget comes from our millage. They go out and raise money, they go to other agencies, and anybody that goes other places to try to earn money to help, I love it.
Yes, I do support our seniors with the rising costs of healthcare and medication. I certainly support anything we can do to give something back to our senior friends.
Michelle?
Since this is up to the voters, I'm just going to throw some numbers out here. So the renewal is a 0.5 mil. It expires on 2016. Okay, so they're asking to renew that 0.5 for 4 years. So it'd be 2017 to 2020. The current revenue is $2,757,167.88. The expenditures are over by about $100,000. So even when they renew the renewal, they're still going to be under expenditures a little bit. With the supplement is a 0.25 mil for 4 years. Up.
Those are long numbers. That took a
I know
while.
I do.
All right, did we get everyone on that one? Everyone go? Okay. So the next one is, how will the Gordie Howe Bridge affect Bedford? So that's what the question that came in. So let's, why don't we start at the end, and we'll just go straight down the table this time. You want to do that?
What was the question?
Oh, how will the Gordie Howe Bridge affect Bedford? Does that sound like something you want to talk about? If you are not sure, you also have the other option of where do you stand on mosquito control? So how about that? Either or, mosquitoes or Gordie Howe Bridge. Seems fair.
The Gordie Howe Bridge does give us an opportunity to possibly bring in some additional industrial commercial business, but to do that, we've got to have the right zoning in place. And we also have to have streamlined a way to get businesses to come in here. A business isn't going to locate in Bedford Township. It takes 3 years to get approval to expand a roof by 9 feet.
TC Clements, to follow up on what Mike was, I think, going to finish to say is that we are business unfriendly. But did you know that 4 of the 11 interstate exits that are going to be affected in Monroe County by the Gordie Howe Bridge will be affecting us directly with traffic? We have an opportunity, but again, all night I've been talking about cooperation. If you notice, we don't abut 75. We need to be cooperating with some communities around us. As for mosquitoes, mosquitoes are bad. Vote TC.
See, those options are nice, right? Rick.
As I've already said a couple times, the Gordie Howe Bridge is really going to be tied a lot to automotive in this area. The Gordie Howe Bridge is going to generate so much more traffic coming to this part of the country and this part of the state because of our crossroads, I-75 and the Ohio Turnpike, plus we have waterways. So we have to get ready with our zoning. We have to be ready with, again, shovel-ready projects. Unfortunately, shovel-ready projects take a little bit of money up front to be ready for a business to come in. And as I just heard a minute ago, we also can't wait, 9 weeks or whatever it is just to be able to expand a roof. So we must streamline our own processes internally. Thank you.
George?
George Welling, and Gordie Howe hates mosquitoes. So in regards to the bridge coming in, it's going to bring a lot of cars, a lot of automotive, a lot of business things going by. We have to go out and get these businesses to come visit us and see and come want to build here. So many times people sit there and they'll open a door and wait for business to come in. That doesn't happen. I've done this with Northwood and the Regional Growth Partnership. You have to go out and attract these businesses. You got to sell yourself. Thank you.
Okay, all right, perfect.
How will the Gordie Howe Bridge affect us? I believe they're breaking ground this summer, thereabouts, and it's a 4-year project, and it's going to bring a lot of traffic, but if we're going to take advantage of it, we need to start now, and we need to streamline our zoning as well as our infrastructure to handle our opportunity.
I'm a fan because I've been going to Canada for quite a while. We go camping up there, and I have a lot of friends that I visit. So I'm kind of, those long waits back, I'm kind of excited about that. I think the biggest thing is the jobs it's going to create, and I feel that it's, you know, that 45-minute drive probably won't be too bad. So I'm hoping that a lot of our residents will be able to take advantage of that and get those great jobs.
Greg Robinson again. Prepare for the bridge. We have the greatest workforce, infrastructure. We need to be township ready, not only shovel ready, but township ready. We also need to tap into our resources. For example, Monroe Community College, Kojo stated once that there's going to be like 4,200 welding jobs around. We need to develop the housing market, increase that, and therefore the jobs will come. We need to be township and shovel ready for these kinds of changes.
We definitely need to streamline operations as far as businesses trying to get approvals to locate in the township. Infrastructure needs to be there too, the road system. I think the Samaria Road corridor is really the main connection between 23 and 75. One thing that could be done with that is the road commission is allowed to designate that an inter-county highway. I think that would take confusion and maybe put us on the map a little bit better.
All right, so the next question is Bedford in relation to Monroe County. The question that came in is, does Bedford get its fair share from Monroe County? And if you don't think Bedford does, how do you plan to fix that? So let's split the table again. This time, James, I'm going to go start with you and go around the horn that way.
What's the question?
All right, what is Bedford getting its fair share for Monroe County? If not, how do we fix that?
You know, I think we are the largest city in Monroe County. I'm not quite sure. But I've often wondered why the roads are plowed up there first. How we can get our services equal to their services. And I don't know 100%, but at the end of the day, I think it's asking, it's communication, and it's being friendly and working together. Ultimately, I think that gets everybody where they want to be.
Good. George, you want to kind of go around looking over that way there?
Thought we were going the other way, but that's okay. George Welling, Bedford Township is definitely the biggest township in the county. No doubt about it. And yes, it doesn't seem like it's been a fair spread. So I think a small committee of township trustees or people going up to the county and trying to work with them, bring up different ideas, work out cooperation, because I think it can be done. And I just think it needs to be approached more often. Thank you.
George? All right, Rick, you want to come up?
A lot of times when we talk county, a lot of people automatically just think about roads. Well, there's more than just roads. We need to take a collaborative approach, and we need to approach the county Board of Commissioners and the city even of Monroe, because every one of us plays an integral part within this county. As we heard earlier, we are the largest township in the county. We are, in fact, one of the largest in the entire state. We serve 32,000 people in this township. So we've got to spread our services and do a better job of communicating with the county and any other resource that's out there available that we can collaborate with.
TC Clements, without question, we are the premier place to be in Monroe County, but it's interesting to me that we don't treat ourselves that way, and we don't expect from ourselves that much. Sadly, in politics, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I think if we're going to have more traction at the county level, we, as an organized body, have to be in front of them a little bit more frequently with requests that are balanced and reasonable. But again, that has to come from demonstrated leadership in government here locally.
All right.
Mike Spratt, as Rick said, we have over 30,000 residents here in Bedford. City of Monroe has about 20,000. We're not getting our fair share from the county, and we're not getting our fair share from the state. And again, the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the service. I think as a trustee, it's our responsibility to go to some of the state meetings and be meeting with the state representatives and state senators and demanding that we get our fair share, which we're not getting right now.
You have to have lines of communication open to all your available funds that you can get, the state, the county. We have township supervisors that come to every one of our board meetings at the road commission. So you've got to stay in contact with these people, and like it says, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that's true in a lot of cases. But the lines of communication have to be open between agencies. You just can't stay by yourself and wonder where the money is.
Nope. Greg?
There are approximately 101 miles of roads in the township. Decision when and how to maintain the pavement surfaces critical to longevity of the pavement surfaces of the roads. Since we're on the topic of counties and resources, I think we need to address the roads. And like many of you have said, the candidates have said, we have to get busy. We have to get involved and become more engaged in the dialogue with the county. Thank you.
I'm going to be honest. I have no idea. I don't know the answer to that question. But what I do know is I'm a very good investigator. So what I would do is actually investigate where the money is spent, how much is supposed to be allotted for us. Why isn't Jackman Road plowed early in the morning and when the kids need to go to school? These are things that I would investigate, work with the county, and find out answers.
Did we all go? Sir James. Okay, I think we did. Okay. All right, so the next question is, where do you stand on big box stores coming in to Bedford? So we started over there, right? Let's start, you wanna come up here and start it out for us? All right. We'll just go straight down the table so I don't have to think as hard.
Bob Stammer. Big box stores, I don't know how many we need out this way. Everything that tried to come here kind of went into Toledo. I don't know what's left. I think one thing that goes to our planning department, I think Bedford doesn't have much of a character. If we have larger stores like that come in, we need to have them play by our rules. I mean, not to make it hard, but if the road needs to be improved, they need to pay for that. If they want to locate here, we shouldn't pay that out of our pocket.
Thank you. All right, Fred?
In terms of big box stores, let the voters decide. It's a tough one. It really is a tough question to answer. Digital polling systems, maybe we can get more of an information from our constituents. There's a movement to keep the green. There's a movement to keep local businesses afloat. And if big box stores sometimes come in there, they tend to reduce them. And as far as the mosquitoes go, we live in the Black Swamp area. So I couldn't.
That's good. That's good. Michelle?
All right, big box stores. So my focus really is going to be in downtown Temperance area, creating an atmosphere like downtown Blissfield, downtown Tecumseh, that sort of atmosphere. But I know along with that, you do need anchor stores, and you need something to kind of start it off. I don't know if big box is the answer, but I know that there is, you have to work together and see what works in other towns and kind of bring that here.
All right, thank you. All right, James?
James Nyan. Big box stores with controlled growth, listening to the people. I think there could be a place for one. I'm not 100% sure, but I am for pro-business. So with that said, if the people decided that it would be appropriate and the master plan does call for it and there is room for it, I'm all in favor. If not, I also agree with that.
George?
George Welling, are we surprised by this question? Big box stores. There is a thing called the law, and people have property rights along with the law. If they are zoned correctly and it's their piece of property and everything around it's good, they have a right to move in. It's as simple as that. On the positive side of that, if somebody does move in, then we can talk about that being used as an anchor store. And I would like to see the township actually try to not restrict, but try to get them to work with the township to tone it down, you know, their presence. Thank you.
Well, like George, I got you this time, you took my answer, and so did Jim a little bit. I'm not gonna say that I personally am not gonna say whether I'm for or against a big box store. That's not my decision. My decision is to vote on whether the zoning is proper, whether it fits the master plan, and I heard property rights. If it fits the zoning and it fits the master plan, then if that's the case and all the data supports it, then I would have to vote yes for it. Again, it's not my personal opinion. It's whether the zoning supports it and whether the township master plan supports it.
T.C. Clements, I agree with Rick with one caveat. I'm not anti-big box store, but I don't believe that looking at big box necessarily is the panacea for your problems. We have a tremendous number of small business owners in this community. I'm one of them. And having lived in a prior community and watched Home Depot come in and Walmart come in and watch over 90 businesses fail and those families have to move to another community, I realized that sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for. There are medium, big box, local regional players that we could bring in that do not have to consume our community the way the quintessential large players would that we've talked about tonight.
Okay.
Mike Sprott, there's been a lot of false information about the effect of big box stores. If you look at the big box stores that came into Monroe, they brought in a lot of small businesses and created hundreds and hundreds of jobs. Another false information, it hurts property values. I sell homes. The homes on Stewart Road and Telegraph Road around the big box stores sell for higher prices than homes in other parts of Monroe that are similar to the ones by the big box stores. Big box stores do bring in a lot of business and a lot of tax dollars.
We got everybody right? Okay. All right, so this next question is, we've been talking a lot about being business friendly. So where do you see Bedford business expanding, and how would you facilitate or attract those businesses? So let's see, how do we want to do this? Where do we start? You want to start, Rick? Go up again here. So that's the business is the question this time.
One of the things is we've got to resource the Business Association in Bedford. We could do better communications with the Business Association. One of the things that I want to start in the very near future, as soon as within the next month, I would like to get a small group of business owners to come and sit and talk in a forum format and bring us the issues that you face on a regular basis. And let us know what zoning and what kind of ordinances affect your business and why you can't grow, why you can't expand. We just had one for Forest View recently. That's an issue that we need to talk about, and I want to start that very soon through the business owners.
All right, George, if you want to.
George Welling, and Rick got back at me again. Good answer, Rick. The only other thing I would suggest is because we have this business, the BBA, I would like to have a comprehensive survey sent out to all of them so we can get a better feel rather than just a committee. That's just doing the same thing, but we're just talking about a different style. And once we get the survey, we can find out where the problems really are and move on from there. Thank you.
Oh, okay, so where do you see Bedford business expanding, and how would you attract that business or facilitate it?
Well, the only way we can do that is working together. That's the only way we can expand Bedford business. We need to bring awareness to our citizens of the township. We've got a great crew of hard-working small business owners out there with a lot of heart and a lot of compassion for this town and for its people. And our number one goal is to work together with those fine folks.
For the last couple weeks, I've been kind of visiting all the small businesses around town and talking with them and seeing, you know, what can the township do for you to increase your business and to make your business better. One was a sign ordinance. I heard a lot about the sign ordinance, and there's some concerns with that. A lot of them said that they want more traffic. The more traffic that's in an area, you know, the more that they will go. A lot of businesses think that, you know, being in a, oh gosh.
I don't like him
My
either.
thing,
Greg Robinson, of course we need to attract businesses, but we don't want to have a unsustained growth. We want to avoid a Toledo example of Walgreens and Rite Aids across from each other and too much of that kind of stuff going on. We want to control it. We would like to have, but be business savvy, business friendly. Thank you.
I think you need to sit down with businesses and see what regulations, what ordinances restrict them in the township. Also, I've seen many communities in their downtown areas, Temperance, with all the empty storefronts, is get maybe with the property owners, where over the holiday period, they bring in businesses, offer them free rent during the holiday period, and maybe they end up staying after the holiday period. A lot of these can be, you know, operations. People are selling stuff on the internet or something out of their home, and they want to try to a brick and mortar store.
Go, thank you, Bob.
We need to straighten out our zoning. We've got a lot of arbitrary zonings. We've got PBO 1, PBO 2, Commercial 1, Commercial 3, Commercial 2. Business owner doesn't even know what he's dealing with. And anytime he wants to build something or expand something, he's got to go and fight with the township to get the zoning changed, which is ridiculous. If you want to attract business in here, you got to straighten out the zoning first and eliminate these PBO. We need a commercial and a residential zoning, period, to bring business in here. There's a lot of things that could be done. If you want to attract business, you need to talk to the business owners. We just spent tens of thousands of dollars to have an engineering company out of Monroe tell us how we should be running Bedford Township. They didn't talk to the brokers, and they didn't talk to the business owners.
See, now there you go. If you walk and talk, you might get a few extra seconds. Figures it out at the end of the whole thing. You see?
I'm T.C. Clements, and I actually sit on the board for the Bedford Business Association. I can tell you that our problem is largely not the issues that we've heard. It's the responsiveness to business when they walk in the door. It's the lag time. It's that issues come before the board, and the board seems to be seeing the issue for the very first time in their life. No disrespect to any current board member in the room, but these same problems existed 4 years ago. My question is always going to be, how come tonight's the night that we start talking about fixing them? Okay, my commitment to you is if I'm elected to be trustee for Bedford, these issues will be addressed in every single agenda on old business. We'll be rehashing where we stand on the last month's issues.
Okay. Everybody went, right? Got everybody? All right, for time, so that we can make sure everyone gets a chance to do their closing statement, this will be the last question we have time for. I'm going to start with Bob, and we're just going to go down straight the line here. So the question is, that we got is, how many hours do you plan to work for the township, but better still, how you continue to communicate with the voters throughout your term as a trustee if you would be elected? So how are you going to work? How are you going to communicate? So Bob, you want to start out?
Well, one thing that makes it easier is I am self-employed, so it does give me the availability more than someone that's got a regular full-time job, I think. It does take much of your time at times, but it's what you're committed to, and So if you're committed to it, you make the time for it. I have people call me about roads and stuff, and you've just got to take the time to take care of them. Thank you.
Greg?
Greg Robinson again. As a question was,
How are you going to communicate?
oh no, not that. I already answered that. What about the?
So how much time do you plan to devote
Oh,
to it, and
yeah.
how will you
Yeah,
communicate?
curious story. I'm at the water tower there paying my bill, the water bill, and there's 6 or 7 men there talking, and I said I was running, and they said, well, I heard your township trustees are going to have to work 27 hours a week. It's like, it's not about the hours we put in. As a teacher, I put in more hours than ever on the time clock. Ask any custodian who's there late at night, we'll prove that to you. But the issue is, of course, time.
I'm a little bit of a workaholic. You can ask any of my family members who are sitting in the audience right here. I'm always learning from people. So if I'm not actually physically in the building, I'm going to be out talking to people, talking to businesses, talking to firemen and policemen, and finding out what would make the township better. So it's probably going to be a lot of time. I can't really give a number.
Okay. James?
Well, I do have, since selling the bowling center, a bit of time on my hands, but if anything, if it's like anything else, some weeks, some months, perhaps a year, might require a substantial amount of time, and the following day, week, or year might not require as much. Whatever it takes to get the job done. Once engaged, it's tough for me to become unengaged. Thank you.
George Welling, I'm saying that again. How many hours do you plan to work? As many as it takes. That's all it is. The job changes from week to week, and you gotta do your investigation, you gotta do your looking around. The more important question is the communication thing. And the first thing I did for tonight was have cards printed up for people who have questions with my email and my telephone number, and they're on the front desk if you want one, because I'm sure there's more questions as time goes on. Thank you very much. That's how you communicate.
Rick Steiner, Communications. I think, again, we've established a communications committee. I think that's one of our first avenues. We also have to communicate individually, by phone, by email, et cetera. When it comes to the hours of service, again, you can't put a dedicated number on that hours of service. I put 10 to 12 hours in every day at my regular job. Then at times I put in another 4 hours or so, 3-4 hours at night. It's just dependent on what the issue is, how much time that each individual item takes. But you do what you have to do to continue the work to get the entire job done.
T.C. Clements. My wife teases me. She constantly reminds me in the morning. She says, "You do realize you're running for a part-time position, right?" My entire life, I have always focused on first place. If you're going to commit to something, there's absolutely no reason to do it to play for second. And so I think the real question is, we keep talking about time. The real issue is passion. And I think if you ask anybody up here, you interview us, I hope that you'll find that my excitement and desire to move Bedford forward is absolutely as great, if not better, than anybody else here.
Thank you.
Time's not an issue for me. I typically get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't usually go to bed until 12 or 1 o'clock at night. And I've slept 3 hours a night all my life. I have one huge advantage over most of the people that I'm running against. I'm a real estate company, work in Bedford. My office is in Bedford. I meet with business owners and homeowners and property owners on a daily basis. So if there's an issue comes up, I can spend as much time as I need to checking it out and investigating it. I'm in the Township Hall 2 or 3 times a week as it is now.
So if it's all right with the candidates, I do want to kind of continue and start with Bob again so that everyone has enough time in between their last question to prepare themselves for their final minute. We're going to do a closing minute there timer. So same thing though, if you can give us 15 seconds warning. This is your chance, candidates, to address something perhaps that you did not get to address, and or let us know whatever it is we didn't get a chance to communicate. Yep.
We're told we had 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes? My sheet says 1, just so you know.
I know it does.
I'm not trying to cheat you. So 2 minutes, timer, if you could do that. So we tried to stop right now so we have enough time to get everybody in. So 2 minutes, so you gotta think of more stuff. I'm so sorry. Bob, if you wanna start up.
Bob Stammer. My main reason for running for trustee is people were kind of clamoring for a change. My term is up at the road commission. That's an appointed position now. I kind of wanted to run for something and come closer to home and serve here. And I think with our large concentration of our budget going towards roads, I thought my experience there could really help. My experience with a budget that's over 4 times what the township is. I've worked with many different board members in the 6 years. We started out as a 3-member board, went to 5. I was chairman for 2 years, so I think my experience getting along with a variety of different board members during that 6 years really gives me a good experience to continue on a board and on a trustee level. I believe we've made changes at the road commission that have saved the entire county money. One of the biggest things is our hot mix paving program is that we subbed that out. We discontinued that. But that was going through our entire operations and looking at what we were good at doing and what we could do efficiently and cost effectively. And we cut the cost of the hot mix paving in half by contracting it out. So, in the last couple of years, we've done double the amount of hot mix paving in this county than we would have done if the road commission had continued to do that. And that's things that we can look at even at the township level of what we can do, what we do best, and how efficiently we can do it.
Thank you. All right.
2 minutes, right?
2 minutes, I was told.
All right. I lived here in the early 1970s. I went to TRE Intermediate School, if you remember that school. Moved back in 1999, started a blueberry orchard. I'm a stakeholder, a former teacher, a resident, a voter, an involved person. Go Senior Center, go Bedford Public Schools, go RTA, go the Monroe Community College, go Township employees, go voters of Bedford. We have to pay for the talent. We have to pay for the things we need to make our place great. One thing we want to be concerned about is if we step over $1 to save a dime. And I'm really concerned about the way we're spending, and that's why I decided to throw my hat in the ring. I think there are many ways we can improve. I'm sure there's ways we can streamline our funding and how we're paying out our, taking care of our bills, et cetera. But I think I would really like to not only, I'm pushing this grant writing, but there's so many grants out there, and I think we need to start, day one, if elected, I'm going to get busy on those because those are so important to and integral to adding monies and keeping our quality of life here at Bedford Township. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michelle Bork. See, I said it again. I'm going to read a couple things just because I don't want to miss anything. Bedford's been a place I've raised my children, owned my businesses, volunteered for community and school events, and have met some pretty amazing friends. I see immense potential in the township. I can envision a downtown where our residents can shop, enjoy unique culinary experiences, and gather to listen to local entertainment. Safe bike trails, pedestrian-friendly walkways, and community events are all things I would like to see to improve Bedford. Keeping residents involved, informed, and engaged is a goal I strive to achieve. Safety, security, and services will be the basis of all my decisions I make when I'm voting on a well-researched issue at board meetings. I'm a strong believer in efficient, organized, and a well-maintained local government. BorkForBedford.com. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's it. Is there anything else? Is my time up? I haven't even looked. Not even close. Wow. All right, I got time to talk. It's just great to be, in a position. I want to thank Nancy Tinneberry. Actually, she got me into this. she came by my house and she talked me into, Michelle, you gotta run. And I really have to say, you know, I was kind of worried about it, but the more I'm doing this, I'm having a great time. My husband just said the other day, he's like, wow, I haven't seen you happier. I just talking with people, meeting people, getting out there, and doing things I love. So now I got my 15 seconds. All right. So it's just a passion. I'm a visionary. I'm a believer, and I just want to, you know, be your township board friend.
Two minutes.
I'm going to finish a little bit of my intro and wind it down, but I do want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. I want to thank Jim Krieger, Dr. Kojo, and Mickey from the school. As you know, my name is James Nyan. I'm seeking one of 4 of the positions in our town, Bedford Township. Some of you might know me as the bowling guy. I owned and operated Forestry Lanes for 25 years. I've worked side by side with many of our township leaders on various projects and plans. I've always enjoyed the people of the township, with my personal favorites being our senior citizen, folks with disabilities, and our children. I led up famous after-school bowling programs, busing our children into Forestry Lanes for a day of bowling. Many of you trusted me with your children, and I guarded each as my own. The program ran for 15 plus years and served over 20,000 families. I've developed many programs for our seniors along with residents with disabilities. We have all become great friends over the years, and the memories are truly my honor. I sold a profitable and thriving Forestry Lanes just shy of 3 years ago. The sale was a blessing from God due to the demand of the business. Since selling the center, it has allowed me to spend much more time with my lovely wife of 25 years, Shelly, and our son, Jimmy. We have 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. Girls are all grown up and doing well, and have blessed me and my wife with 5 beautiful grandchildren. Our son is fully autistic and totally dependent on both my wife and I. He is now 22 years old and the pride and joy of my life. I am sure many of you have seen us out and about, whether it be at stops at Kroger's, dropping in at Howard's Meats, or down at White Park. I have learned so much about life through him and what it really means. I've also learned how generous and compassionate the residents of Bedford Township truly are. With all this said, I owe you. I owe you all, and I want to give back.
Time's
and
up.
pay back our township. Thank you much.
George Welling, and I have 2 areas I want to cover out of hundreds I wanted to talk about. First of all, to grow Bedford, we need to be proactive by going after business and bringing them here. We can't sit back and hope it comes here. I have worked on marketing with Northwood, Ohio, the Regional Growth Partnership, to help them do just that. We should be doing the same here. We must make Bedford the place to be. Zoning and regulations have to be friendlier, at the same time paying attention to our residents' needs. With new businesses come jobs and tax revenue. More importantly, if there are jobs, people will come to Bedford. Our township will grow. When elected, I planned a long haul of going over our ordinances and working with the board to weed out the unnecessary and making changes to outdated ones. The new master plan has taken care of a number of issues already. My concern deals with the ordinances that may prevent a business from operating smoothly and efficiently. Signage, for example. At the same time, there are a lot of ordinances that affect our citizens that cause them concern and interfere with their home life. I would refer citizens to bring problems to me, explain how it adversely affects them, so I can talk to our township and see if we can correct a problem. We need more small business, and we need to respect property owners at the same time. Moving to another important area. My earlier statements can only happen with leadership and strength. Lee Iacocca said in his book, "Give me people with strong egos, not big ones." The big egos are too sensitive to criticism, not using their ideas, or not agreeing with them. A strong ego can take the heat, put it aside, and still be motivated to move on to the next problem. There were several occasions that the others on various boards and businesses that moved in a different direction than I wanted. I know I gave it my best shot and voted that way. My reaction was simply, let's get to the next turn. Next item. This is the way organizations should work. This process allows people to disagree
Time's up.
and work for the best situation. This is what I'm offering to Bedford. George Welling, thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. See, that's why I made him do it so you wouldn't hate me.
Rick Steiner, once again, Bedford Township trustee, and I've been serving Bedford since 2000. So 16 years I've been serving this community, and I'm looking forward to serving continually until I get too tired to do so. I'm a 45-year resident of Bedford Township. My current profession is a global logistics leader and manager, and my function is to support a $110 million budget. So that's quite a bit larger than what we have that I share a portion of here to operate in Bedford. I work for a multi-billion-dollar company, and I'm used to the strong challenges that face every day in a just-in-time environment where I have to move on the fly and make quick decisions, but smart decisions. Those quick decisions and the challenges I face also give me the temperament to stay level-headed and adapt and be ready at any time. Some of the things that I want to also touch upon, I didn't hear Lake Erie Transit tonight. That was one question I didn't hear. I was surprised it didn't come up. I do support, again, our Lake Erie Transit. There's many seniors that use the Lake Erie Transit, and there's many people that are disabled and less fortunate people that have to use Lake Erie Transit just to get to work, just to get to jobs, just to get to schools. A lot of these people have no cars, they don't have funding, they need our assistance. So it's not just the seniors. We must improve our communications. Again, through the new communications committee, I think we should strongly support that. And I know that Mr. Robinson has mentioned grants. Great idea, Mr. Robinson. We currently do have some grants on fire, and we've also had some grants on roads. I look forward to you working with the township. Good luck to you, whether you're elected or not. I would still like to see your involvement as part of that for grants.
Time's up.
Thank you.
TC?
I'm TC Clements. I don't have a prepared statement. That's not really my style. I'd rather just talk to you for a second kind of about me from my heart. You know, one of the strangest things, having never run for office, I was able to make deputy chief, and I've been promoted through corporations, but I've never had to go out and talk about I. It's not how I'm wired. I'm a we guy. And since I've played Little League sports, it's always been about the team. And so this is a very unique experience to constantly stand up in front of people and tell them why you're the best. You've heard a lot tonight about some of the things I believe in, but one of the things I would encourage you is as you go to cast your vote, this is a character issue. And so there are going to be issues that come up before any trustee over the next 4 years that none of us are going to be able to anticipate. The economic condition at that time, the condition of our community, county, we can't anticipate those things. And as you've seen tonight, we all tend to have a lot of answers that sound very similar. If you want to know what's really important about me, know that I'm one of your fellow residents. I'm a fellow business owner here in this community. I'm a homeowner. I don't want to see my taxes go up any more than you do. I'm a very proud husband to my wife of coming up on 13 years. I'm the father of 3 children. And those are the things that matter most to me. I'm a man of faith. And what I'm most proud of is that at 47 years old, I can stand before you and told you that I've never sold my integrity. And if that means something to you, I would absolutely appreciate your consideration and your vote on August 2nd. I have some literature out in the lobby, and I would welcome any phone call, any email, any chance to speak with you, because I know that tonight has been difficult to hear thoughtful answers. You've kind of gotten very quick snippets. But because I'm a candidate that really believes in listening to the people, I want to make myself as available as I can to you, because ultimately this is about you. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and thank you to the people who put it on.
Mike Spratt. I think my experience can add a lot to the township board. I spent 10 years as a plant manager and in management positions with U.S. Steel, running one of their plants. By listening to what the union people needed and the workers, we doubled the productivity in the plant just by changing their job operations to make it easier for them to do their jobs with no capital improvements. I took over Wabash LaGrange Steel Company. They had 3 plants, 1 union plant and 2 non-union plants. Ran all 3 of them, and I doubled the productivity at all 3 of those plants doing the same thing, listening to the employees in the plant, finding out what they needed to make their job easier. In real estate, you don't make a penny unless you can listen to what the buyers or sellers need and work for them to find the right type of home, right type of property, or a solution to their problems. I helped over 50 families in the Bedford area negotiate short sales with their banks to prevent foreclosures on their homes. When I negotiated those short sales, their neighbors and relatives had no idea that they were going into foreclosure, and had no idea that they went into a short sale. I know how to listen to people and how to work for people. I'd like to serve you, and I'd like the opportunity to serve this community as a trustee in the township to help solve the problems and bring more economic development in here to create jobs so that maybe my children could come back into town and live in this town and work in this town instead of have to relocate to someplace else to find employment. You know, we've got a great school system here. We've got a great location between some very nice cities. Toledo's a great area. One thing that hasn't been discussed and I'd like to talk about is drugs and police protection. During the riots in 1968, I was an auxiliary police officer, and we took over the operation of the city of Taylor, where the police department went into Detroit. I'd like to see that here.
All right, so the next thing we want to do, thank you so much, candidates. Let's just give them a round of applause for adding their thoughtful comments today. Also, Brett Cook and Nancy Tinevere, I would urge voters and viewers to also get to know the 2 candidates that are also not here tonight. You've got a lot of choices to make. Because we're doing so good on time, we now want to have the candidates for supervisor, treasurer, and clerk to come up. You guys knew about that, right? Do you want to talk? Okay, so you're all going to get 2 minutes. If you all would just stay right here, you don't have to take your whole 2 minutes, but since we have everybody's eyes, are we still doing that? Up to 3. Oh, my piece of paper. Okay, so timer up to 3 for the candidates that are here for the supervisor, treasury, and clerk positions. If you guys would all come up right now, then we wouldn't have the hokey pokey, you know what I'm saying? So we get up here and have very little time in between speaker to speaker, and then we can all stay on task because it's a lot of time for everybody here to take out of their day. And when we get this online, Mickey, where's this going to be online? So
Mr. Ellsworth will have the link.
okay, so Mr. Ellsworth will have the link, and he'll get it to me, and if you follow me on Facebook, I'll put that on there too, so that you can all let people know, you know, that this will be on, because a lot more people may see it online than they saw live and in person. So if our timer could set the time at 3 minutes, and Mickey is going to need each one of you to introduce yourself, and you will have 3 minutes. And our timer over there, if you haven't been noticing, has a 15-second kind of warning, and then you get the hook. No hook, just a light tap on the elbow. So come on over and start us off. Just say your name and what you're running for so the kids know.
Thank you. My name is Greg Stewart. I am your present township supervisor, and I am running for re-election. First of all, Rebecca, thank you. I heard a lot of thank yous, but I want to make sure you get it. And the students from Bedford High School, nice job, really good. All right, let's hear some facts and some good news, okay? Bedford Township has had 3% growth in jobs in the last 4 years. You compare that to 0.9 in the nation and a negative 1.47 in the county. We have economic development. We're working on economic development. We're working with companies. Bozell, the first North American manufacturing company or place, is here in Bedford. They're from Brazil. They came here. We are also working with grants for bringing Dundee manufacturing here. We are working with companies for expansion with grants. We're also working on grants for metal tech, which is coming from Oregon, Ohio. We have full capacity at our industrial zoned area, our industrial area. We are looking at expanding it. Our master plan calls for an expansion in that industrial zoning. We are going to be needing to work with Erie Township to develop that. That's that 2020 plan. All that work you see in Ohio on the roads is going to happen in Michigan, and we need to take advantage of that. Number two, the economic development piece, I think, is strong. I think that the roads, we have spent over $8 million on roads in the last 4 years. Over half of that is through grants, working with the state and the federal government. We have worked very hard to cooperate with the state. It's a lot of times about relationships. We have worked very hard not just to work with our next door neighbors, but with TMACOG and SEMCOG. You're going to see some information about water rates and different options with regional water zones and working with the city of Toledo. Those are all things that need to be done. Good news on economic development, good news on roads, but the pity is we could have done so much more. And we could have done so much more if we would have worked together, if we would have cooperated, if we would have taken the time, not to find a bunch of people that agree with us, but find the time how to work with everyone, and everyone that is interested in helping and making Bedford a better place. That's where we've got to go. Thank you.
Don't forget to say your name and what you're running for.
Well, unlike TC, a well-oiled machine up here, I have notes. My name's Paul Peroni. I'm running for Township Supervisor, currently a Township Trustee. First and foremost, I'm a man of faith. I'm a dedicated husband, married to Stephanie for 10 years. I'm a dad of 4, soon to be 5, of beautiful children. Born and raised in Bedford, Bedford High School graduate. I was a Bedford Township Park Commissioner from 2008 to 2012. I'm currently on the Planning Commission. Bedford Township Trustee, 2012 to present. I'm a 16-year member of the Union Ironworkers Local 55. I've worked my tail off for a long time to build a relationship and get to the point where I was a delegate for the Northwest Ohio Building Trades. I was an executive board member. I'm a steward on multiple jobs. I was a general foreman for multi-million-dollar projects. I'm a chaplain at the YMCA. For 5 years, I was a small business owner myself, so I know it's a tough area nowadays, and we have to work with these businesses. I'm the president of the Bedford Farmers Market. I was the apprenticeship coordinator for the local 55 ironworkers, where I took over a stagnant apprenticeship and turned it into a place where people wanted to be at and learn. And as a trustee, one major need that is lacking in Bedford Township, and that's trustee, and that's leadership. It's amazing to me how important leadership matters in every facet of society, especially within our township. As a trustee, I've seen firsthand how inefficient government management is in our community. I want to see more communication and cohesiveness between government, citizens, schools, the Bedford Business Association, police, and fire departments. As a citizen, I want our government to be for the people, not make empty promises and no follow-through, especially in economic development. I want to fast-track businesses to come here, cut down on the red tape and expenses it takes to do business here. Let's communicate more so we can all help each other and understand each other's needs. Forest View Lanes, currently with their volleyball courts in the front, they have to come before the board every single year to get approved to be out there, and half of his business comes from, the outside activities. He couldn't get loans for some things that he wanted to continue to do. So this is red tape we got to get through to help our businesses. B&B Restoration off of Lewis Avenue, they had to go through all kinds of red tape to be there. They're now leaving. We need to let people outside of our community know who we are for them to come here. That's why I helped bring the farmers market back into Bedford. It brings people outside of our community.
Time is up.
And time is up.
Make sure to introduce yourself.
First off, I want to thank everybody for being here and for everyone to put this on. It's events like this that are going to create more involvement in the community and create awareness of issues. My name is David Dunnigan. I am a candidate for Township Treasurer. I'm a lifelong resident here. I have family roots here for over 80 years, so not only myself, but my family's been here, and I'm proud to be a Bedford resident. Tonight I was excited to see all the ideas and discussion from the trustee candidates who are here before us. Not one person here has all the great ideas that are going to move this township forward. It's going to take a cohesive board to make everything happen that we want to happen. A lot of same ideas, but we need to work together to make those happen. As treasurer, I plan to create an open door policy not only to the members of the board, but to the community for all ideas that do come in, and want to take those to heart and provide the answers to the community and do everything we can with that. As I said previously, I'm a lifelong resident of this township, family roots here. I've experienced working for Fortune 500 companies. I've experienced experience has provided me knowledge in banking, investments, real and personal property taxes, lending. I mean, those are just the statutory duties of treasurer. I want to bring my own personal touch to the job that just going to create more quality, makes me feel like I'm the right man for the position, taking that community involvement and applying it to the position as well. Recently, I've spoken to many of the members of the community. Both citizens and businesses have many of the same sentiments that we've heard tonight. Today, I've actually heard the term, everyone else does it better, regarding communities around us, Blissfield, Adrian, Perrysburg. I feel like people should be looking at Bedford and saying, we want to be like them. And I want to bring the business into Bedford to create the jobs, to retain the talent of the young people we do have, because as I've said many times, people are one of our biggest assets here. While retaining those young families, definitely want to value the elders and what they've established here, because they've created this community, and I want to continue what they've created. Leadership as a whole is a title. It's not just a title, but it's a behavior. I want to exhibit the leadership, as I said, through the community, through dedication, engagement with the community, and viewing ideas through a new lens, something that's different than what's been done for the previous years. Transparency, it's something that's talked about a lot, but not fully accomplished. I want to bring all
Time is up.
everything in front as far as transparency goes. So, yeah, good idea.
Who's up next? Make sure to say who you are and what you're running for, so they know in the hall.
Well, first of all, I'm terrified of public speaking, so please bear with me here. First, I want to thank fellow Michigan State Spartan alumni, Rebecca Rainier, for hosting. Go Green.
One back there, too. There's 3 of us.
Okay. And thank you to Commissioner Mark Ellsworth, Henry Levens for organizing the event, Jim Krieger for underwriting the event, and Kojo at the Whitman Center for hosting. My name is Austin Mack. I'm a candidate for Bedford Township Clerk. I'm a lifelong resident of Bedford Township, graduated Bedford High School, and I graduated from Michigan State University, where I earned a degree in public policy and administration. In my career, I primarily worked in the public sector, and since graduating, that's where I worked. First job out of college, I worked for the city of Toledo. I worked for former Mayor Mike Bell, and I was super excited, straight out of college, energetic, idealistic, ambitious. But then I got to the city of Toledo and learned that it's not exactly what you learn about in school. I saw firsthand how politics, the same recycled politicians, department heads, administrators, cause government to be ineffective, slow-moving, out of date, out of touch. And unfortunately, I see the same thing in our local government here in Bedford. So I'll move on from that. So to say there's a lot of work to do at our township hall is an understatement. I tried to make a short list of things we need to get done, and it turned into a very long list. So to quickly highlight a few areas that were kind of touched on tonight, grant writing, I was shocked to learn there was really nobody doing grant writing for the township. We're leaving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the table by not having this being done. For a population of 31,000 people, that's inconceivable. We need to have it be done. And as a clerk, it's something I do for my job now and something I'd love to do as clerk. Next, there are no detailed HR policies for township employees, no pay raise scales, no evaluations of employees, no mandated 40-hour work weeks for our head administrators, and we need to have these things on paper, written, to be responsible as a board for the citizens, for you guys. Our township website is out of date, to say the least. Looks like it was made in the 90s sometime. Very, very out of date. We have no Facebook or social media in the township to communicate, to promote ourselves. And in 2016, there's no excuse not to have that done. So it's really on the full-time positions to get these things done, because they're there all the time. The trustees, unfortunately, aren't there full-time. They're not paid full-time. It's really on the full-time employees to get these things done. So again, it's a lack of ambition, I think, at Township Hall to go above and beyond their day-to-day duties for the taxpayers. I found that unacceptable. Bedford needs new public servants who possess the passion, education, work ethic to reevaluate how we operate as a township. How am I on time, Henry? Am I good? Okay. So I'm humbled by this opportunity I have to run for Bedford Township Clerk, and I would appreciate your vote August 2nd. And if anybody wants to talk to me, I'll be hanging out afterwards with TC, handing out stuff at his table, hopefully. Save some space for me. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Who's up next there?
I want you to steal my Michigan State.
I just might. It's the right color. Paul, did you want to come on up?
Obstacle course.
Hello, my name's Paul Francis. I am the Bedford Township Treasurer at the current time. A lot of good things were said here tonight. We owe all the people that have filed for office a vote of thanks. They are stepping up to get something done for the township, sacrificing some of their time, which is valuable for the township. I appreciate all of them. The job that I'm seeking re-election for as treasurer is really two parts. It's an administrative job and it's a legislative job. The trustees are primarily legislative, not administrative. So there's a big difference. My opponent just spoke a few minutes ago. He didn't mention anything about the administrative duties of the position. The state defines what those are for the office of treasurer and the office of clerk. Very specifically defines it. And if it's not done in a precise way, they'll come in and change it. They'll force you to pay for them to change it. That's happened in this county several years ago, up in one of the northern townships, where the state came in and demanded a change, and the township got to pay for it twice. It's important to elect somebody to that position of clerk and treasurer that has the credentials, the qualifications, and a little experience, because it's a big job. We collect about $27 million. That's not chump change. The people of the township expect it to be done efficiently. I think it is right now, and I intend to keep that. The township really is in the service business. We're here to serve the residents. We need to make sure that we have the best people so that we can provide the best service. There's been some talk recently of eliminating all the full-timers and making them part-time. That might work in some smaller townships. That won't work in one that has 32,000 residents, in my opinion. There's too much work to be done. And you cannot hire somebody at, say, $14 or $15 an hour on a part-time basis with no bennies, which has been mentioned by several, and establish that service. They're there for a while. They have to be trained, because the jobs in my department, you need to know what you're talking about and have some experience that you've done it. When you hire somebody that's just a part-time person, when they get a job offer that has bennies, they're gone. Then you're back to training somebody else, so the service goes way down. That's not what I think we ought to be about. As far as being efficient, I agree 100%. We need to look out every day to spend the township's money efficiently and wisely. Some of my credentials, I think most of you know them. I'm a lifelong resident of Bedford, graduated from Bedford High School, graduated from Eastern Michigan University.
Your time's up.
Wow, well, it goes quick. I'm a CPA. I think I know what I'm talking about with numbers, and that's my forte, planning ahead.
All right, Paul, your time's up.
Thank you.
Do not trip. Be careful, please. See that? Yeah, be very careful. I just don't want you to trip on it. All right, Trudy?
Hi, I'm Trudy Hirschberger. I am currently your township clerk. I have been in the township business for 19 years. I didn't come to this position thinking I could be clerk without any experience. I worked my way from the bottom up. I started as an election worker, was receptionist at the township hall, worked through the assessing department, building department, until I was appointed in 2000 to be deputy clerk. I had 11 years as deputy clerk before I ran for township clerk. I am a sandwich generation. Not only do I have children still at home, well, in college, but my parents are still alive and I help them a lot too. So I have to understand not only what our younger generation is going through and what their needs are, but what our older generation is going through at the same time. So I have a lot of experience with that. As far as township clerk duties, elections take a lot of your time every 2 years. So right now, for elections, you really don't have time to do much of anything else but elections. As soon as one stops, the next one starts back up. But I did take time to work with our schools. There's a lot of talk about working with our schools. I went to our high schools and I held a mock election. Best thing I have ever done. Trying to get into the schools for 4 years to do this always seemed to be something in the way. But this year I was able to get in there and learn that, the kids are intimidated by the election process. This is our future generation, and they didn't want to vote. They were too intimidated by the process. So I went in there, I held a mock election, and they were so happy. There were so many questions. Some of them worried they were making mistakes. That was okay. It was a mock election. You'll learn for the next one. I had some come in that did the election in March, and they said, I wish you would have been here sooner because that one was a mess for me. So that was really gratifying to me. I did work with some grants. I was able to get the library cameras through a grant. Also Dundee Manufacturing, we're jumping in feet first to that one. Never did a grant like this, but it was for business. So here we are. We're gonna get a new business in because we were confident enough that we could do this. We could do this new grant that we have never ventured into before and bring this business to Bedford Township. There are a lot of empty buildings in Bedford Township. I'd like to see them filled. Downtown Temperance, that was our backbone, and it's disappearing, and it's sad to see that. So we really need to revitalize Temperance and get that built back up to the glory it used to be years ago. Some more description about a clerk is their responsibilities are probably more than any other department. There are FOIAs, there's elections, there's finance. Believe it or not, people don't know the finance director falls under the clerk. So there are a lot of responsibilities that people aren't even aware of that the clerk is responsible for. So with all those responsibilities, yes, we do need other people in my department to help. But thank you, and I would appreciate your vote on August 2nd. Remember, experience does count.
All right, we want to thank the Whitman Center and Monroe Community College for affording us this space to have this meet the candidates. So thank you so much, Monroe Community College. What a terrific partner in this for us. Thank you. Mark Ellsworth is also someone behind getting all the details together. Thank you, Mark, for taking care of all the details that are required for this. Jim Krieger for underwriting the event. Thank you so much, Jim. And finally, I want to thank all the candidates for all the offices. Again, we can all sit back and say how it ought to be done, but stepping up to do it is something that is very impressive for all of you. So thank you so much. And I believe that concludes our Meet the Candidates Forum tonight. Thank you so much for coming.